Okay, connections have been updated in the legislative branch. 130. Oh, we have a new spokesman of the Independents, I'm assuming, because the last guy got shot. Okay, Mansan Leke is a Swordlish politician of Bloodish descent, member of the Assembly, and current leader of the Independents in the Grand National Assembly of Sordland. He was leader of the pro-Bloodish Workers' Party of Bloodia between 1948 and 1949. He's a strong advocate for the rights of religious and ethnic minorities. Okay. Okay, news. 2 things. MP shot. Nation in shock. Sordland has been shocked by grave news today as an elected member of parliament has been shot dead in a suspected political assassination. Police sirens were heard around the clock today as the House Sword Police Force increased security measures around the capital. The fact that such a violent act happened at the heart of the capital during the new president's inauguration celebration has worried many citizens. The Red Youth has reported to have promised revenge. This seems like it has potential spark into a swirl Sordland that it would swirl Sordland into political violence of the 1920s. President Rayne signaled a possible cooperation with Franz Richter of the PAFJP ahead of the inauguration ball. Regarding the remarks of Richter about a possible cooperation to fix the current problems of Swordlish political institutions, the president had chose to make no comments. Richter has been long vocal about his democratization plans, but his demands for constitutional change might finally become a reality if President Rayne leads the bill together with Richter's PFJP. I don't know why I keep switching those 2 letters. Okay. So the economy currently is stable. Look at that. It's on the up and up. Because we were, I think, here. It's gone up a little bit. Then it went down a little bit, but that's okay. I think it's all working out in our favor. Security increased. Security measures of the capital have been heightened after the murder of Bernard Serkias. The mayor of House Sword reports that everything is under control. Security around the Maroon Palace has increased with a combined effort of the House Sword Police Department and the Presidential Guard. Additionally, the entrance procedures of the palace have been revised with advice of security professionals. Okay. Time for an emergency meeting. The mood in the situation room was gloomy. My cabinet members have gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Leia has presented the initial report. Bernard Serkias was shot dead at 9:03 p.m. in front of the palace gates. He was an elected independent member of the Assembly, and as you know, a famous communist. She spat the last word out with some distaste. The guards at the scene were 50 meters away and immediately took action by responding and killing the assailant, who was identified as a member of the nationalist organization, the Young Swords. The president and his family were unharmed, praise God. Okay. An MP was shot near the palace. This is absolutely unacceptable. I agree. We are reevaluating our security measures. However, the recession has affected my ministry negatively. This has created a dangerous atmosphere where the left versus right political violence of the 1920s could spark once again. A return to those days would be devastating. The coups are the reason why our country stagnated for a decade. Nehemiah Garna, the Minister of Justice, sighed. The Red Youth have condemned the killing, but didn't stop there. They promised revenge. This will in turn spark further aggression from the Young Swords. The whole cycle started because of Bernard Serkias expressing his views. We can't simply look away. Nia had always been one of the only members of the Justice Ministry truly deserving of the name. She had served countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and rising to power had only compounded her sense of moral duty. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We can't let anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. We must protect freedom of speech. What is it? Melville's ideology of Red Youth promotes threat to our country. We should be cautious. Okay, we must protect freedom of speech. Our laws do, and for good reason. Silence and voices only result in fear and stagnation inside of society. We've had that before, and know very well how it was. I heard your concerns. Our police do their best to uphold the rights of the citizen. We will prevent such an act from happening again by making sure our security measures are reevaluated. Minister of Defense Joseph Lesia grunts in approval. He towered over the rest of us in a full military uniform. His many more medals conspicuously on display. Agreed, ma'am. Our Gerrymandering will also help boost security in the rural regions where possible. There might be more violence to come. We should refrain from making the issue a political one from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. I mean, it is political though, isn't it? Yes, but we need to calm the country. If we take sides, we will be escalating the situation further. There aren't many sides. It's the state versus its enemies. Several police cars rushed past Maroon Palace and everybody went silent. Regardless, a full investigation to all those involved, all involved parties is underway. We will find the subversives and punish them soon enough, Mr. President. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative task. And justice will be served, and the rule of law will turn to this country stronger than ever. Only if we stay vigilant as a country. We must think about the upcoming budget. Okay. Too soon to come to conclusions. Internal stability must be maintained. Okay. It's too soon to jump to conclusions. Don't be afraid to go into debt when needed. Just a number. That's true. That is true. Agreed. We need to be patient until we have the full picture. Lucien took some notes after checking the latest newspaper reports. It seems like the tensions between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. It'll be very difficult to pass any meaningful change if there's chaos in the country. We can't fix a recession if there is not stability. You are right. We need to trust our ministers to stabilize the situation if it comes to it. This will be all for today. We will convene again soon. Thank you all, and keep us updated. This meeting concluded, and the ministers left the room with concerned looks. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. Okay. Oh, continue. Okay, so that's like the first big bit. Murder at the palace. Breaking news! Bernard Zacchaeus, a prominent independent MP known for his communist romanticism, has been murdered, leaving the Maroon Palace guards grounds after the inauguration ball of Anton Rayne. Reports indicate a politically motivated assault by the far-right nationalists of the Young Swords. Shocking photographs have been leaked to the press showing blood-dripped stairs of the Maroon Palace. We heavily condemn this sort of political violence. This is the very cycle the president must break with reforms. Okay, Young Swords is a right-wing nationalist political organization with alleged connection to a number of armed attacks against the Swords government. They are a youth organization that has close ties to the National Front Party. Often it has been associated with the Black Battalion, is linked and has been linked or liked to the party's more violent wing. Okay. Close all this, and we shall continue. A few days later. Is that all in one? No, it wasn't all in one day. I don't know how many days it's been though. Okay, the economy is still stable. Very, very happy to see it. We don't look. We're about the regional map right now. What do we have in the news? Swordist politician shot dead. The Swordist poet and politician who had been spoken out about the idea of the dictatorship of the proletariat was shot during an evening in Anton Rayne's inaugural ball. Bernard Zacchaeus, a 53-year-old Swordist member of the Assembly, was shot a number of times by a gunman at the entrance of the Maroon Palace, who was identified to be a member of the Young Swords. Despite his radical views, Mr. Zacchaeus was elected to be an independent MP of the Assembly in the 1953 election, and sadly did not manage to live long enough to serve his duty. He was said to be repeatedly received threats from the Swedish nationalists. He viewed him as a traitor for promoting Malanvism in Sordland. Television footage showed the famous poet's body lying face down, draped in a white sheet on the pavement of the front gates of the Maroon Palace. Laius Graff, the Interior Minister, said that she had assigned a group of leading military ministry officials to lead a hunt for the killers. Once again, dark hands have chosen our country and spilled blood in House Sword to achieve their dark goals, she told a news conference. We are investigating all aspects of the crime. His funeral will be held tomorrow in his home in City of Deer. The local police have reported that increased security measures for the ceremony. Unity, despite differences. Sordland has two paths for the future, and this year is critical in deciding which path to embark upon. Amid a recession, the lack of stability, and the security causes the death of Bernard Zacchaeus is an unacceptable reality. We need more jobs and a safe atmosphere for a country supposed to grow and prosper. But how will we increase our employment and open new factories if there is blood flowing down the streets? Sordland will never reach its goals of an advanced society if we descend into a downward spiral of splintering of our nation. Peace and prosperity now and forever. The only way out of a recession, bailing out businesses. Sordland's economy has been displaying a downward trend over the past 2 years of Alfonso's presidency. If we want to prevent the country from declaring bankruptcy, we need a way out of the recession, and we need it now. The economic downturn keeps hitting hard at the businesses which are struggling to stay afloat. It is clear that a helping hand from the government is required to control the situation. There is no other way to put, apart from bailing out businesses, to truly provide relief for the economy. This in turn should revitalize the economy by creating more employment opportunities and increasing production in Sordland. Let's bail out the banks! Hell yeah, brother. Murder was a method of the past. The tension between the left and the right extremists have increased in the country after the assassination of MP Bernard Sarkis. Protests of Malavist groups quickly turned into riots around the country. We are calling for peaceful protests and dialogue instead of violence. After the attack that prompted the riots, a number of the young swords assassinating a member of the assembly, it clearly shows that we are willing to use extreme actions. Or they're willing to use extreme actions, said Franz Richter of the speech to the Grand National Assembly. We all live within the borders together, and therefore we all bear the responsibility, a duty to live together with our differences. Richter's unifying message is something that we should all listen to in these dark times of danger and loss. The murder was a method of the past and has tainted us, reminded us of who we were before and who we do not want to become in the future, said Richter, and stated that as we are citizens of the nation, we all bear responsibility beyond ideologies, partisanship, or any other identity. Farewell, Bernard Sarkis. It is a sad moment for Sordland. We have lost a renowned poet who not only wrote about the struggles of the working class, but also acted on them. However, his decision to enter Swordlish politics was met with a sick attack that ended his life. This was indeed intended as a message to all opposing forces in Sordland. We, the team here at Radical, condemn this evil act of terror of the young swords, who we believe to be responsible, held accountable to the whole group. It is finally a time for the government to realize that this organization is a terrorist threat, and to serve justice that is due. Bernard Sarkis is always going to be our heart as a great Swordish poet, as a revolutionary, and a leader of the Swordish avant-garde, as a futurist, a romantic, as a Malavist, but beyond all, a symbol of freedom of speech. He is now a man who was murdered for speaking his mind. This cannot remain yet another political murder of the sad reality of Sordland. In fact, it is time to change this. It is time to speak up as a people. The most beautiful sea hasn't been crossed yet, said the great poet, reminding us of to always have hope. We must strive to have hope and to make them a reality. It is the best way to honor his memory. Bernard Sarkis will be laid down in the air tomorrow. Any citizen who wants to pay his respect is invited to attend. Okay. Vagtland labor unions drive further decentralized economic growth and empowers workers. Helm Vagtland. Building upon the foundations of Vagtland socialism, inspired by Embark Hegel's revolution ideas, labor unions are spearheading the next phase of decentralized economic growth and worker empowerment in Vagtland. This is a unique form of socialism, emphasizing a federal economic organization society, continues to reshape the national's politics and economic landscape. The Vagtland Worker Cooperative, a successful example of Vagtland socialism in practice, has led a remarkable 17% increase in productivity and an impressive 33% rise in worker satisfaction. Encouraged by these results, calls for expansion of decentralized structures across various sectors of the economy have gained momentum. In light of these successes, Vagtland Minister of Labor, Fredia Albrechtsen, recently unveiled a new initiative in Helm aimed at further expanding infrastructure, promoting scientific and technological advancements. We believe in the principles of Vagtland socialism, offered a substantial and equitable path for our nation's future. Albrechtsen stated during the press conference in Stahlhort. As Vagtland moves forward with Emmerich Wegel's vision of decentralized egalitarian society, the nation is solidifying its position as a leader in socialist thought and policy making, both home and abroad. With labor unions at the forefront of this movement, the ongoing development of Vagtland socialism offers a promising blueprint for other nations seeking to implement similar reforms. Okay. Arcasian PMC descends on Maribone amid resource extraction controversy. In the midst of political instability situation in Maribone, a largest Arcasian private military corporation, the Palantor Security Solutions, has deployed its forces in the resource-rich nation. Sources reveal that the Arcasian PMC has been contracted by several multinational corporations to cure and extract valuable national resources amid the chaos. Maribone, a country in the continent of Rica, has been grappling with internal strife and weak governance, leading to a power vacuum. This has opened the doors for foreign interests to exploit the situation and extract abundant resources, such as oils, minerals, and rare earth metals, present in Maribone's borders. Reports suggest that the PSS has already established several forward operating bases near key resource extraction sites, raising concerns about the long-term implications of this move on Maribone's sovereignty. Okay. So what else do we have? Police overburden Estord. We received reports that lack of equipment and staff of the police force in Estord. With the escalating violence in the city, the officers have been working 12-hour shifts to suppress protests to no avail. No, go back here. Does right-clicking, like, send us out? I actually don't even know how we got sent out there. Okay. Narbel is reported is currently too understaffed to deal with the ongoing political violence due to the small size of the police force in the city. Okay, so we need... Well, they want more cops. Illegal KA-74 seized. A cache found in Rumberg's made weapons, including 47 brand new KA-74s, 2,854 bullets, 12 handguns, 27 grenades, and bombing equipment, were found in the basement of an abandoned house in Arizona. No suspects have been detained yet. Very cool, very cool. The Sol Dam has reached its maximum capacity. The dam, a crucial element of the city's infrastructure, has been handling an enormous amount of water inflow recently. With the reservoir at full capacity, the dam's operational efficiency is under scrutiny. Maintenance checks are being conducted to ensure the dam's safety. Okay. Young Sword Youth Wing leader dead after terror attack. Local Young Sword Youth leader in Suzerain, Lac Torian, has claimed responsibility for the organized attack on the bloodish market that resulted in the death of 7. His base of operation had been raided, and he was found dead inside with 2 bullet wounds in the back of his head. The scene was organized to make it look like a suicide. We are not able to gather information about the location or the ringleaders connected to this terrorist attack. More firearms found in Communist Party office. The Bergian security forces raided a local Communist Party office after alleged attacks organized by one of their members and found illegal firearms in the office. The building has been closed and 22 members of the Communist Party of Sordland have been detained. Okay, what else do we got going on around here? What's going on in Gen? More weapons are being seized. Okay. Police forces found the wardrobe full of heavy military equipment and has been seized by Young Swords. Okay, very cool. Everybody has guns. Everybody has guns. Communist Party's leader suspected of bomb attack. 11:48 a.m. An unattended bag in front of the NFP office in Vagland was destroyed by the police on suspicions of bomb threat, which were then verified. Upon further investigation, the Communist Party leader of Vagland, Militaner, has been arrested in connection with the incidents. Okay, what about what's going on in the world stage right now? No, go back. Please go back to the world stage. Wayland. The latest diplomatic message from the leader of Wayland warned us regarding a pathway from the mountains of Bergia that allows traders of the state to escape into Sordland. President Viktor Smolak has demanded the border security be increased. He's also sent his best wishes about handling the protests in Sordland. Okay, we also have stuff coming out of Angola. The leader of Agnolia has diplomatically critiqued the imbalance of trade between our countries. Concerns are raised over how much of Sordland's profits from the net trade in comparison to Agnolia. The Prime Minister, Martin van Horten, has requested a fair re-evaluation of existing treaties in future negotiations. Okay. By the way, how is this going? It's still under construction. I don't know if there's a way to actually kind of see how that's actually going. Okay. Let's read the report first. The Chief of Police, Carl Greshner, reports that 2 bloodish women with affiliations to the Bloodish Freedom Front have been caught in Hadesor before they were could execute a terror attack at a crowded rally. Both women were listed as wanted criminals and enemies of the state. The arrested women have admitted their intentions to attack the National Front Party's rally at Seoul Square, when Kasoro Kieber gave his speech but rejected any connections to BFF. Okay, they were claiming they were acting alone. So let's first have our security briefing. I arrived in front of the doors leading to the Situation Room. Today's security briefing was arranged in 2 parts, starting with internal matters and moving on to external matters after a short break. The Minister of the Interior, Elias Graf, and the Minister of Justice and Law, Nia Morgana, would join us for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. For the second part, the Minister of Defense, Josef Lesinia, would join us with a few high-ranking officials, including the Chief of the Armed Forces, Velikin Kruger. I opened a door. Lucia, Nia, and Elias rose from their seats. Sir? Please take your seats. Everyone in the room sat down except for Lucien. He put on his glasses and went through the documents in front of him. Shortly after, he raised his head to address the attendees. Mr. President, ladies, we will kick off today's meeting with the internal security briefing. I'm assuming everybody's already been over the agenda. We all have busy schedules, so without further ado, I will jump into the first topic. As we feared, the political situation has worsened. The reports around the country indicate that tensions are rising as we feared. What's the status on the Bernard Zacchaeus investigation? We received news this morning that the investigation into the murder of Bernard Zacchaeus has concluded. Okay. Please enlighten us. The more that we know, the better. After further investigation and testimonies, we have confirmed motive and also the events leading up to the shooting. A few days prior, members of the Red Youth initiated a violent attack on the Young Swords local leader in Gen. We believe the Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Zacchaeus. Since he often spoke against the Young Swords and the national sentiments in the assembly, he was a big target, not to mention his radical communist views. Okay. The political violence needs to stop. Yes. We kind of debate for so long, but it seems as though there are some new triggers. Leius handed over the report and pointed at the highlighted section of the document. The investigation revealed a very troubling fact. The funding sources for the Red Youth have a clear link to United Katana. This is proof that they're meddling in our affairs. Exactly. Several Red Youth members who have ties to United Katana have been detained, and the information extracted from them points to the preparation for a communist uprising in Sordland. It isn't unusual for the superpowers to influence other nations, but I think this case is a little far-fetched. The left lacks popular support in Sordland. Nia eagerly lifted her hand, motion for her to speak. I went over the report in detail. It would be wrong to jump to conclusions about a clear foreign influence yet. United Katana has humanitarian and cultural ties to many countries, including Sordland. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we should create a crisis with one of the major superpowers. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Rickon, who tried to establish a communist dictatorship in our country. It was not for Colonel Sol, then we would have seen the real crisis. She took a sip from her glass of water and continued. Our police chief, Carl Greznier, has linked the funding channel to United Katana consulate in Benfi. As we know, the enemies of Sordland are many, but we have threats inside our country. We need to remain vigilant, as a people and as a nation. If you give up essential freedoms to purchase temporary security, we deserve neither the freedoms nor the security. This is debatable, but yes, we know what more security and surveillance caused this country under President Sol. Let's not forget that President Sol, God bless him, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed and chaos, but moving on. Our highest internal threat comes from the estimated 20,000 strong Bloodish Freedom Front, led by imprisoned Delwyn Arge. They are a banned political organization, now a militant force that is trying to incite racial violence. Are they supported by our Bloodish citizens? To some extent. Luckily, they couldn't attract a wide audience of Bloods, but they could potentially attract thousands of anti-Bloodish sentiment spreads in Sordland again. Liz pointed to page 3 of the report. Our intelligence indicated 2 crates filled with weapons close to the Rumberg border. They are filled with military-grade Ka-74s. We expect that more have been smuggled in. A group of Bloods were caught with these guns at a checkpoint not far away. The governor of Bergia, Felix Braun, has already been taking necessary measures to counter this threat. Rumberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time. I'm not surprised that they would attempt to weaponize the Bloodish people against us. This is worrying. Very worrying. And the thing is, we do not like Rumberg. We do not like. They're like our #1 enemy. This was expected that Rumberg would undermine us, but this is too far. I agree. The prospect of arming our populace against us is a step too far, and this is grave news. But we must be careful not to stoke the fires of anti-Bloodish sentiment. Unfortunately, Governor Braun is directly causing the tension to increase with increasingly anti-Bloodish stance. I must remind you, Governor Braun is directly responsible for the arrest of Delwyn Arge, the previous leader of the BFF. It's true that his methods can be extreme at times, but it was his policies that kept the region peaceful over the last decade. He is misusing the powers given to him by Tarquin Sol. The insane authority of the governor is surely the root cause. It would be very difficult to revoke the special status of Bergia under these current circumstances. Ms. Morgna, the president no longer has the authority that Tarquin Sol enjoyed. For now, yes, but with enough justification for it, it would be possible. Anyway, we will be discussing this at a later time. Tell me more about the special zone. As you know, Bergia was given a special status by the Tarquin Sol after a full-scale uprising by the BFF against the government in 1935. Those couple of years were disastrous for Bergia. Delwyn Arge and the BFF declared war upon us, openly attacked our people, and occupied entire cities. It was a massive uprising, but I like to point out the longest time they were in control of a city was 2 weeks. I wouldn't call it an occupation. Despite the arrest of Delwyn Arge in 1944 and the BFF seizing activity, the special status of the region was never revoked. Today's special zone of Bergia gives the governor insane power and authority. He was in trouble with the law before for not following the central government's authority. Unfortunately, Bergia has its own police forces, directly commanded by Governor Braun. They are not part of my ministry and only cooperate when they are forced to do so. And that is a problem. Even though our forces have authority to serve in Bergia, the special zone leaves the security of Bergia mostly in the hands of the governor. And that leaves my hands tied. Okay. Has special powers. Discrimination in Bergia suffers is maddening. We should find a way to revoke the special status of Bergia one way or the other. I'll do my best, Mr. President. Nia gestures at Lilius. What is the second most important threat? It is the gang violence that is threatening the Nargis and Aglian regions. Two prominent organized crime families are at war, and the potential for bloodshed is real. Okay, which are crime families? One is known as the Cornelli, and the other is known as the Skinner Cartel. They used to be allies until recent disagreements, and both are active in the city of Narbal and Estord. They're playing with fire. Do you want... I mean, we can do some crackdowns. They're playing with fire. I want them gone for good. While I agree that we will make Sordland a better place, it will not be easy. These gangs exist because corruption is so common in our country. They bite our police officers and slip by checkpoints. This graph sighed deeply. I shall be honest with you. With our current capabilities, we may not be able to prevent the further arming of separatists while maintaining order in Bergia, Nargis, and Angland. If the law enforcement budget isn't increased, I can't be fully responsible for what happens. Our police unit is spread thin as it is. In light of this information, I might increase the law enforcement budget. We will rid our country from separatists and violent thugs if you do so. I wish you would stop using the word thugs, Lelis. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling the gang violence and is very likely the reason why these weapons are being smuggled in. A higher budget could help us end that. Yeah. Valid points? Corruption is the root of all evil after all. We can look into corruption once the weapons have been found and the gang's been beaten. Just like previous administration, kicking the can down the road. This is what is destroying our institutions. Leis and Nea were both openly scowling at each other. Lilith turned back to her notes. Well, this concludes the topic for the internal portion. Thank you for your updates, Miss Graff and Miss Morgana. Thank you for the overview. And yeah, have a good day, and until next time. The two ministers left to give room. We took a short break before continuing with the second part. Upon invitation, Yosef Lucia, along with three high-ranking officials from the Ministry of Defense, walked into the room. One of the men was none other than General Kruger, Chief of the Armed Forces. Yosef made his way towards the table while others stood by the door. Mr. President. Yosef, welcome. I brought General Kruger with me due to the escalation on our borders. General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. He had a strong jaw with sharp cheekbones. His tall stature, uniform and medals, combined with his deep and intense stare, made him look threatening. He was in his 70s, yet he had a bulky body that was the result of his commando training. Not only was he the second most decorated officer in Sordland, he's also the longest serving. But you know what? I'll salute him back. He smiled at the gesture and bowed his head in respect. Yosef tapped his foot impatiently. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to the significant gathering. Let us begin. Yosef and Vulcan took their seats at the table while the rest of the officers stood by the door. Mr. President, the situation at the western and northern borders towards Romberg is very tense. We are observing deployments of divisions closer to our border. Romberg has been acting increasingly expansionist in the past decade and has interfered in Agnolia, but now they have turned their sights to us. This does concern me very much. We are observing this area actively. Our contingency plans are ready. It seems like they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture is becoming clearer. The latest information from the interior about the weapons caches, and now there's active military buildup close to our borders. The entire situation was analyzed by our general staff, and our prediction is the future territorial incursion by Rumberg. I have complete trust in the general staff. We will not let you down, Mr. President. The general staff is composed of the smartest military individuals. I require an increase in the military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then can we stand strong against our enemies, and enlarged armed forces will hold them at bay. Vulcan is right. We do need an increase in military budget. But we don't see eye and eye exactly how to spend that budget. That much we agree on. I have my concerns about Rumberg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superior power. They are our nemesis. That's an understatement. Times are changing and war is coming, Mr. President. Whether we like it or not, we must be prepared. During the election, you said nothing about focusing on our military, and I ask you to reconsider to increase the military budget. The future and safety of Sordland is in your hands. I'm a man of my word, Yosef. That is a valuable trait, President. However, it will not help when our enemy armies are invading our cities. Our forces would crumble under a decrease, and Rumburg would be much more compelled to exploit our weakness. Our country hasn't fallen to any invading force for 200 years. Cannot let this happen, Mr. President. We should find regional allies like Vagland and Lesbia to deter Rumburg. There are several options on the table. These options should be considered. They could be considered, but why pander to others when we can solve these issues ourselves? We have no true friends outside of these borders. Everyone fell silent when a soldier entered the room and let Josef Lankia know that a call had come through to the ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. Josef left the room to answer. A few minutes later, he entered the room again. His expression has changed. Mr. President, there has been Rumburgian military activity close to the Narbel border. I just spoke to the local commander. Vulcan, we should go to the ministry and get further updates from our branches. Understood. Raising military readiness is the first call to action. Is there truly an extraordinary attempt? We will relay it to you immediately and wait for further orders, Mr. President. Okay. Make sure that they know that we are observant and ready. Always watching, always ready. That's our motto, sir. Hail, Sordland. Hail. They saluted and left the room. Rumburg was already contesting us, and the reports from the interiors indicate interference inside our borders. Communists, nationalists, bloodish rebels, Rumburg expansion to them. What's next? Sordland had always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry between Arcasi and United Katana, but in recent years there's been no such aggression from Rumburg. Not at these levels, at least. All it takes is one tiny spark to start the flames of war, and the foe would rang. Rumburg had decided to close their consulate in Lakvean. Rumburg